Earlier this week, I requested the opportunity to tag along with the inspectors or walkthroughs. It wasn't something that could be accommodated. You think that could be done where the media could tag along with some of the walkthroughs of schools so that parents, and we're hearing from a lot of teachers even, that are saying, hey, look, whole districts are taking 2 hours to inspect, just to give them a bit more confidence.
That's something that we can work on together. What we are focusing on with these walkthroughs is these are actual working sessions. So we want it to be able to really engage the people that are going to be working on problem solving together. We have 2 to 3 members of our team, and we have individuals from the school facility that are walking through and seeing what's needed. So that's why having a group that's focused is one that we are continuing with. In addition to that, though, we are able to
These
set
are
up
all
a
public
scenario
people
where
paid with
we can
public
maybe
money.
have the media be engaged.
But these are all public people paid with public money. Why would it not be a public process?
This is a working session, so we want it to be a productive environment that allows the folks leading the facility to have the tools they need to be able to problem solve effectively. If there are large groups of people that are engaged and around, it just decreases the ability to do that effectively, and we're wanting to get to the place where we can verify what the schools have put together as their plans and be able to provide some confidence that what they said they want to do and are doing, they have the setup to be able to do effectively.
What do you say to the criticism? We're hearing from some people who say members of DOH weren't at these inspections. So have you or the governor been to any of these inspections? And what is your understanding of what these are like? We're told that someone said air testing is put on the school districts, not done by this inspection.
So we can start with correcting the reference to inspection. These are the walkthroughs that are these collaborative working sessions that are put in place by an interdisciplinary state team to work with the school and the facility leadership to help understand where are their challenges in fulfilling what they said they were going to do with their plan and how can we problem solve together. Our interdisciplinary state team has undergone a training together. We work on the checklist together. It includes the Rhode Island Department of Health. It includes Department of Business Regulation. It includes the Rhode Island National Guard. It includes leadership from the Department of Education. In order to cover the 300 plus buildings, we need this interdisciplinary team to be able to go in different directions at the same time. That's going to involve different members of that interdisciplinary leadership team.
Warwick told me that they don't believe it's sufficient, the checklist that you have. They think that there are more concerns that should be addressed. So do you think that the checklist and the inspections that you're doing are thorough and adequate?
The checklist is a reflection of the guidance that we have given and that schools have shared with us as part of their plan. So we're pulling out the key elements that we know are going to be critical for ensuring that the school is fulfilling what they said they are going to do. We hold the school fully accountable to completing all elements of the plan, but we wanted to really be focused on ensuring those key components that we know are needed for these walkthroughs are fulfilled.
But Governor, what do you say to the concern that these are not?
So how many members of this team are in place? And is it reasonable to expect that these people can cover, as you admitted, 300 plus buildings in the space of 2 to 3 weeks?
So let's talk about what these are and what they're not. We have about 14 teams of people out there. Each team has multiple people on them. And as we keep saying over and over, they're not inspections. You guys insist on referring to them as inspections. We can agree to disagree. They were never intended to be inspections. Here's the process. For 3 months, we've been working with cities and towns to put plans together. It is the primary obligation for the city and town to get their school ready. We've been helping them. They've made their plans available to us. We've worked for months with them. Every plan has gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with the Department of Health and the Department of Education. As a kind of a belt and suspenders, we heard from some folks that Wouldn't it be nice if you could have a checklist and have human beings go through every building and make sure that what was represented on the paper was in fact happening in the school? And so that is what we are doing. As far as I know, we're the only state in America doing it. It is an above and beyond approach to give everybody a little bit more confidence. They're not inspections, as you would think of as an inspection with like Department of Business Regulation. But I think it's an excellent idea. It was not my idea, so I can say that. It was given to me by actually Larry Pirtle of the NEA, who's been a fantastic partner. And he said, Gov, it might just give our teachers a little more confidence. So yesterday they did, I think, 50 inspections or so. I haven't gotten the results yet. I don't know if anyone failed or passed. But it's just like an extra, it's just an extra effort to go in there and say, okay, you say you have fans in the windows. Do you really? You have windows that are broken? National Guard is there. Can we help you? How can we help you fix your broken windows? What are you really struggling with? So I want to be clear. It's the if Warwick thinks it's not adequate, then Warwick should work a little harder. By the way, they aren't working very hard at all because they're not even trying to get the kids back in school. If they think that it should be more, then they should do more. And they should let us know how we can help them. It is the job of the schools, the LEAs, the cities and towns to get ready to get these kids back to school. What we are doing is providing support, providing testing, providing contact tracing, providing these walkthroughs as belt and suspenders, providing $50 million of extra money, providing them with everything we know how to do in order to help them. This is really hard. This also requires a willingness to want to get kids in school. You know, I read stories about tuberculosis in 1908. They taught kids outside in the middle of the winter. When there's a will, there is a way. We have an obligation to teach our kids. They are getting further and further behind. This will be incredibly hard. It will not be perfect. And these walkthroughs are just another way to give a hand to cities and towns who are struggling. By the way, I'm open to figuring out a way if you think it would be helpful. It's the first time I heard of it, so we'll think about it. But, you know, that's how I think about them.
You said it's follow-up in the absence of empirical data presented to parents in the form of a published accounting of inspection, walkthrough, however you want to phrase it. That is critical to have any level of confidence given the physical near collapse of so many of these school systems out here on a bricks and mortar basis.
So you're right. Look, that is true. So that's why there's this back to school website where every city and town has published their plans, which has been approved by the Department of Health, where we've said to them, hey, if you get into trouble and you run out of masks or whatever, call us, we'll help you out. It's why we've set up a 24/7 Education Operations Center, and it's why we're having trained teams of folks going through to say, check the box. So there will be a check the box. Every school, 300 and some odd schools, will have had a team walk through it and check the box. Is there an isolation room that's adequate? Yes, check the box. Is there adequate airflow in every classroom? Yes, check the box. So that is exactly what we're trying to do, and all that will be made transparent. That bit of it will be totally transparent. Here's the plan. Here's what they said they're going to do. And they've checked the boxes to say they've done it.
The question that everyone wants to know, though, is the state of Rhode Island, in the absence of that responding effort by the municipalities, are they willing to support lawsuits against their own school districts? Yesterday, you seemed to encourage parents.
I see. Okay, that's a different thing. That isn't my call. We are hearing from a lot of angry parents. We're hearing from a lot of angry parents, particularly parents whose kids have special needs, who have an independent learning plan with a contract that entitles them to in-person school. So parents are saying to us, what can we do? And it's up to them to kind of figure out their legal rights. But I have sympathy with parents who say, well, the state has green-lighted the school to open. How come you're not opening for my kid? But that's not my decision. That's you know, the parent, if they feel they have a right, can exercise that right.
Governor, you said it was the NEA, the teachers union, that suggested these walkthroughs. They're under the impression they're inspections, and you said they wanted some confidence. They're now saying they're the ones who are criticizing these walkthroughs and saying they're perfunctory and they're passing by rooms and not checking them. If they were supposed to inspire confidence and the group that wanted them says they're not, what's your response to that?
We're doing everything we know how to do.
And they're saying this is in school districts that want to reopen, where the unions and the school districts are ready and want to, and they're looking for this.
We can try harder. I'll call them and see what, if anything, would pass muster for them. I mean, I can't find another state that's doing more, literally. The president of the National American Federation of Teachers, Randy Weingarten, tweeted out a thank you to Rhode Island. This is what schools should be doing. So we also are resource constrained. I thought it was a good idea. We're trying to do it. It's not the only, if it were the only thing, this inspection, but this is like a icing on the top of the Educational Operations Center, of 3 months of planning, you know, of the back and forth, of RIDO setting forth a 24-page playbook. I don't think they're perfunctory. You know, we have a checklist that's important, that hits on all the key issues. We have a team that's going into every single school. We're helping where we think it's necessary to help. They're definitely not perfunctory. I really don't think they are.
Governor, we're hearing from a lot of bus drivers, and they're wondering, are they going to be part of rapid testing?
Yes. Yeah, you mean school bus drivers?
School bus drivers.
I'm sorry, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole K-12 system.
Okay. And just, I know it's fluid, but if a child proves positive that rides a certain bus, what right now is like the plan of what would happen? Even though I recognize it's a fluid situation, but I've heard from a number of bus drivers, what happens if one of the children that ride their bus tests positive?
Same thing as in a classroom or a lunchroom or any place. If they test positive, we'll do the contact tracing system immediately. There should be a seating chart on every bus. So if there's a bus driver or another kid who is for more than 15 minutes within 6 feet of that child, then they have to be in quarantine. So not everyone, you know,
Governor.
if you're 10 feet away on the bus, you're not going to have to be quarantined.
Governor, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello.
On July 15th, you announced a plan for small businesses. You said we're going to get $50 million out the door. 7 weeks later, $5 million has been allocated. 35% of the applications have been approved. 9,200 is the average award. Some people have given up. Some people say it's too much. We've got too much to jump through. Are you satisfied with the amount that's gone out the door?
No, I am not satisfied, although nor am I critical of commerce, because
Why not?
So we had a long meeting about this yesterday. We are frustrated too. I will be crystal clear about the situation here. We put out the 50 million. We thought that was a drop in the bucket relative to the need. We have a certain set of paperwork that is required, you know, in checks and balances to make sure that everyone who gets the money is deserving of the money. And a lot of businesses, particularly the smaller businesses, are just struggling to work with the system. And so we're trying to simplify the system to make it a little bit easier for them, but we have to keep some checks and balances in place.
Right, but you also put restrictions. Some people didn't even apply. The sole proprietors were out
We are
initially.
working on expanding that.
And then you have this company in Minnesota that it wasn't really, that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, that it's not really clear, and a lot of people are leery about giving them their information. In terms of welcoming, the small business community has told me, it is in effect, the skeptic would say, you don't really want this money to go out the door. You want to save it for other things like the budget, like the schools, and you're not helping us. So what would you say to those who say the administration has failed them as small businesses have started to close over the last month?
So I'd say a few things. The demand hasn't been as great as we thought. We are putting money out the door, and I would love nothing more than to put every penny of it out the door, because that's what it's there for. We do not want to save it. We are absolutely thinking of expanding to sole proprietors, and we've been talking to them about that. we are trying to strike a balance between getting the money out the door, but also requiring them to provide the necessary paperwork so that they fulfill the criteria.
But is the demand not as great because you put up so many barriers?
I don't
at
think
the
so, but I
beginning?
don't know. By the way, I don't know. And this is not unique to Rhode Island. You see this, it's like another 10 states have done a similar small business program to us. Everyone is having a similar experience.
Vermont got the money right out the door with not all these strings attached, with the accountability. $15,000 per business went out the door.
Well, I will look into that because I know we've been talking to Utah and other places that have the same exact experience. Let me say this to you. If you've helped me in the past with the sports and such, if you're talking to people who say to you, it is this particular requirement that we're getting hung up on, it is this particular piece of paperwork that we're getting hung up on, it's this, like, help us fix the system. We are talking every day to small businesses to try to make it easier, but if you have suggestions.
It's easy for you to say that, Governor, here. You have small businesses calling Commerce, and it's like a brick wall. Now, Commerce has helped some people, but they've been trying to get some of this information, and it has been less than helpful. They can't just pick up and say, hi, Governor Raimondo's office, can you put the governor on, please?
I will say that, first of all, they can get through to us. I will say Commerce has been incredibly responsive. People, by and large, have said they get their calls returned within a day. We return every email. We're working every day with these small businesses. We've gotten millions of dollars out the door to thousands of businesses. We're going to continue to get more money out the door to more thousands of businesses. So, we are on it, and we are putting money out the door. We do get a lot of emails saying, thank you for the money, it saved my business. However, we can always do better. I always want to do better. We're not saving the $50 million for the budget, and we have to work harder. And by the way, I say that too for the schools. Like, everybody's looking, including me, for just that silver bullet, and we don't have it. So these walkthroughs are intended to provide a bit more confidence, and I don't think they're perfunctory, but nor are they perfect.
Sorry, again, so you use the term walkthrough. The unions report, the checklist themselves uses the term inspection. I know it may be semantics, but I think people were just expecting more, and when you call it a walkthrough, it kind of lessens the expectation of what it is.
I don't know what to say. I definitely don't think they're perfunctory. We're getting updates. The checklist is pretty comprehensive. We're engaging in a hands-on way. Like just yesterday with Providence, it was a call that, even I was a part of. And they need more fans, and they need help installing the fans. So they came to us and said, help us out. And we said, fine. And the National Guard and our own team is going to get out there and help them. Other schools are saying, we need desks. Our kids are at tables. You can't separate them at tables. We said, fine, we're going to help you get desks. So when I think of an inspection, like with a restaurant, historically, it's more of an inspection and then you get a demerit, right? That's not what this is. This is you're struggling with such and such, how can we help you? So call it whatever you like, but it's meant to have someone who has some level of expertise with physical eyes on every school.